Hi everyone, so go ahead and just type into the chat where you are joining from today. We're going to go ahead and kick this off promptly at 6. All right, so my name is Crystal Robinson. My friends and some of my clients, they call me Chrissy, so feel free to call me whatever you like. I'm a brand strategist and web designer over at coloraddict.com. I service currently all the clients all over the U.S., but my home office is here in Warren, Michigan. I have a bachelor's degree in business management and computer information systems. I have a huge passion for business, causing me to be a serial entrepreneur. I've owned as many as 3 businesses at a time. I'm a self-taught designer and been designing, graphically, because I was more of a material designer with my hands, like art and canvases and that type of stuff. But graphically, or on the computer, I've been designing since 2014. I've designed and developed over 17 websites over the past year, and I've worked to co-create over 27 brands in this past year. Here's some brands that I've worked with over the years. Some names you may recognize on here. Today we're going to be talking about 4 ways you can optimize your website to increase those holiday sales, right? So what does that even mean, right? So I'm sure some of you joined and were kind of a little bit intrigued. You're like, yeah, I want to increase holiday sales, but I don't really know what that means. So basically that means changes you can make to your website today to make more moolah this holiday season. What in the world is moolah, Crystal? That means more money, more cash, more big bucks, paper, bread, whatever you want to call it. You'll make more of it by optimizing your site and following these 4 steps. So overall, here's what you're going to learn today. You're going to learn those questions to ask yourself when designing your web experience for your customers. Whether that's you yourself or working with a designer, you'll know the right questions to ask and make sure that your clients are being fed through a really pleasant experience on your site. You'll learn how to focus and encourage your customers to pick a lane. You'll also learn how to display the value of your product or service, and also what it means to show proof and why you should be doing it. And then also ideas on how you can inspire action. All right, and if all else fails, you just learn like 8 different ways to save money. So you walk away with something regardless. So I want you guys to type in the chat, what business are you in? And the reason why I say this is because I want this to be really interactive. And so when I give examples, I want to try my best to give examples in your business. So type in the chat what business you're in. And then along with like that interactive type of webinar, I want you to feel free to ask me anything. Hi, Leah. We have hair extensions, wedding and event planning. You guys are making this easy on me. Nonprofit. Okay. Life and career strategist. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So the first one we're going to jump into, and feel free to keep commenting too. I'll keep checking, is focus. Okay. And what that means to focus is really decide on what your main offer is. So if you have more than one, so for example, Jessica, you're a life and career strategist, you want to encourage your visitors to pick a lane, right? Yes, those things kind of tangle together and they go with each other very well, but you want them to kind of self-select on why they're going to come to your site and what actions you want them to take, right? So the person that feels like they need a career coach may just say, even though we all need a life coach, they may just say, I just need help with my career. So you want to figure out a way, and I'll show you some examples in just a second. You want to figure out a way to have them pick that lane. I know you're probably like, what does that even mean? But I will show you some examples. Don't worry. Same thing with you, Charnay. You may want to have a social and, or let's say private or social or whatever words make sense for your brand as far as how you talk in corporate, or not corporate, wedding. So maybe it's private and then wedding or something like that. Some prompts that you should be asking yourself at this point are, what are your visitors coming for, right? What are the actions that you want them to take, right? So obviously we all know we want them to spend money or we want them to sign up for this consultation, or we want them to take some type of action. So what are those actions? And then that will help you kind of take a step back and figure out who you're talking to and help point them in the right direction. And then another thing is how your products and services can be grouped by. So if you want to give me like, you can even send it to me privately, but if you want to give me like a 1 or 2 sentence about what it is that you do, I'd love to give you some ideas. So just put in there, because nonprofit's a bit wide. So like maybe what your mission is, so I can kind of help give you some ideas on the way here. So once you have that lane, make it super simple, right? Super easy. I like to say kiss it. Keep it simple, stupid, like simply done, right? And so I have some examples here. And so Target is a really good example that I use all the time. So right now, if you go to Target.com, this is literally what comes up right now. Now Target, we all know, it sells everything, right? You can probably find almost anything at Target. But when you go to their homepage, this is their homepage. I didn't click toys. I didn't click anything like that. This is their homepage. You would think Target is the old Toys R Us. And why is that? It's because they picked a main offer. They know it's the season for buying toys and gifting. So they're going to really promote that right there on the homepage. Want to raise some money with some products that promote what we do. Okay, I can work with that. So for you, an example is if there are different ways to raise money that feel more comfortable to say like a certain target of people, you may want to say option A, which is donate money using this form, like people who just want to outright donate, but then maybe there's like a volunteer. So you want to basically have them, if you only have one offer, which is just to raise money, then definitely just have that, but have it clear. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But the picking the lane is really, really common for a lot of business owners, because as entrepreneurs, we want to do so much. And so we bog down our site with all these different things and come to me for this and come to me for that, rather than trying to make it real clear as to what it is that we offer, and make sure it's clear on our website, and we have them go through a experience based on that. Thanks, Sue. Hertz is another one. So in their top navigation, they have rent and buy. They have 2 clients, people that want to rent from them and people that want to buy from them. It's real simple. All the other stuff mostly applies to the rest of everyone else, but their main 2 focuses is if you want to rent from us or buy from us. And then a lot of common ones that we all see and are used to at this point is, the top level navigation categories. So like men, women's, you might see like bath and body, home and health, like any of those categories that kind of help people when they're coming to your site, help them decide what they want to take action or what they want to look more into, rather than just having like shop. And then now I just come to a page with, a bunch of products. So Jessica says, I guess mine would be classes and one-on-one coaching. I would take it away from what your services are. So maybe, well, that's actually a really good one. So it could be for sure classes and one-on-one coaching, but those to me are approaches. It's more of like the outcome of what they want to get. And that may be clear at the end. So I'm gonna postpone that and we'll workshop that at the end, because it may become more clear by the end of this presentation. So again, I'm practicing what I preach, right? This is my own site at coloredit.com. So whether my clients, depending on what stage of business they're in, they may want to build their brand starting from the very ground up. They may want to design their website, or they may want to improve their social media. They can want all of those things. They can want none of those things, but I'm allowing my customers to select what it is that they want. And another thing I want to caution too is that this doesn't mean any and everything that you do, right? So with event planning, you may do rentals. You may do like renting out tablecloths and furniture and stuff. That doesn't mean rent furniture should be one of these options. It's just, what's your main offering? What are most of the people, the majority of your customers or your audience coming to your site for? All right, so next is displaying the value. So this one, I'm sure we're all pretty familiar with. It goes along with kind of, it's almost selling yourself, but not not too hard of a sell. It's more of an information piece, informative. In advertising, or really in marketing in general, we say all the time, you either want to do one of two things when you're talking to your clients. You either want to entertain them or inform them. So just remember those two things, entertain or inform. And so most of this presentation is going to be about informing, so that you can inform people, keep them inspired to make a decision. Okay, so keep that in mind. So with benefits, this is the transformation. This is what you plan to take them through. These are the perks, and I have tons of examples. These two things get confused all the time, so I have some real examples that you can take a look at, and then it may help a little bit more. But the features are, what do you bring to the table? What really makes you different, right? And this is like kind of, what's the difference between working with one bundle or hair extension company compared to the next? Like, what is setting you apart, right? A rule of thumb for me and just web design in general, I'd like to say that people usually stick to 3. If you can do more than 3 and still have it look well, definitely explore that. But a rule of thumb, so you don't have to get bogged down in the details, I want all this to be as actionable as possible, is to stick to 3, right? And then bonus points if you can use icons or little cool illustrations. And I'll show you how that looks in just a second. So FreshBooks is a bookkeeping tool, and here on their page, they have their benefits. Now the benefits, again, are on the client side of things. What's in it for them? What will they get? How will their life be changed, right? So it's ridiculous easy to use. That's a benefit for a customer. They have powerful features, and then in their little paragraph or blurb, as I like to say, they talk about what those features would be. But that's something that I care about. And then organized in the cloud. Those are benefits versus actually saying what those features are. The features, if you can think of it this way, the features are kind of what your client will compare you with someone else. So I may get it faster, I may get it quicker, etc. So examples on features, Best Buy. So on their homepage, they have preview the Black Friday ad. Now we just looked, I grabbed these screenshots today to make sure that they were really fresh and you guys could go there and see them. So we just looked at Target, and Target didn't say anything about previewing their Black Friday ad. They didn't say anything about free next day delivery. They didn't say anything about ready in one day. Yes, those things can also be looked at as benefits, but they're also features of why are you going to deal with Best Buy versus Target, if that makes sense. Let me know if that's clear, because I'll expand on that if I have to. All right, and so a really, really good example that may really hone it in for most of you is Google. So when you're doing your Google Suite, perfect, thank you. When you're doing your Google Suite sign up, if anyone uses Google for a business, when you go to their homepage, their first 4 things are features. This is really what makes it different. What are the things you can do per se? And then benefits are the things that, and it literally says on here, consequently, benefits. So Jessica says, features what you get, benefits how they feel. Yes, you got it. I am so glad that was clear. I tried to find really good examples for you guys, because that's something that a lot of people get really confused on. So again, with Google, they even list it out. You see the header there says benefits. All right, and number 3 is showing proof. Now, most of my clients do a really good job of this, but I wanted to kind of tease you guys and make sure that you guys are doing this as well. So proof is testimonials and reviews. So on your site, I would prefer on the homepage if you can, because there's a lot of studies that show that the traditional navigation is really kind of useless in websites these days, because people kind of prefer to scroll rather than to click through pages. So if you have a link that says testimonials, 9 times out of 10, even if they're interested, they may not click it. So instead, you may want to include it like maybe a little bit lower, like kind of build up that suspense and that interest, and then plop them there. And it's kind of just to say, hey, you know, I worked with people, here's what they what they say about me. Bonus points if you can get a video, because that's the best. People much rather listen to something than read it. And like, again, they'll be kind of skimming through the testimonial anyway for things that they need to hear. But for sure, try your best to get actual photos of your customers. And it goes as simple as just saying, hey, I'm going to highlight your testimonial on my website. Do you mind if I use your Facebook profile picture as a photo on my website? It doesn't have to be, hey, send me this photo. Can you come to this photo shoot? It doesn't have to be anything like that. It can be just as simple as, do you mind if I use this photo on my site? And 9 times out of 10, I haven't had any issues with that. Clients are usually open, especially if they love working with you. They usually want to spread the word for you. I find that our clients can tend to be our best champions. So some examples of how people are doing this is Slack, which is a messaging platform or a messaging app. And they have it right in their header. And the creative thing that they've done is they've taken something that someone said on Twitter and put it right there at the top. And so if you go there right away and you're still deciding, you're like, hey, Iron Egg Web Design really loves Slack. So that's proof right there. And they love it so much that they're, mentioning them on social media. And it's less of a the typical testimonial. So I really like that they've done that. Another example is Shopify. So when you go to Shopify's website, if you scroll down a little bit, again, these usually aren't right at the top, but Slack has slapped it right on the top. They tell a story, right? And this is telling the story. It kind of conveys this message. They got some really good photos of their client, and they got like a quote that says, hey, we've been able to build something in just 3 years versus something in 10 years that other people would have had to take in that time. And what that really does, the power in this, guys, is that what you're trying to tell your clients, that, what those benefits are or those features, if you can find testimonials that speak to what those are and kind of confirms those things or denies the things that, you say won't happen. So for example, if you make sure that you have a tight feedback loop with your clients and they say she was honest, she's constantly communicating, those are the testimonials that you want to be highlighting on your website. This is going to make people say, she's not just saying this, or he's not just saying this. It's really a thing. And this person, and adding the photo really makes it more personal than just having just some text up there. And it kind of makes you want to stop and kind of read on it too. I've noticed that a lot. People will kind of, as they're scrolling, stop, look at the photo, read it, and then keep scrolling. Same thing if you are, and this might apply to you, Sue, if you have like 2 different types of clientele or 2 different types of users on your site, you may have to communicate 2 different messages. So this is Shipt, and they have shoppers and they have members. And members are the people who are receiving the groceries, I guess, and I guess they're customers. And then shoppers are the people who work for them and delivering the groceries. So they're kind of marketing to 2 different people, right? So that's that pick a lane. Do you want to become a shopper? Do you want to become a member? So with this, they show testimonials from both. Hey, I'm a shopper. I love my experience, et cetera, et cetera. And hey, I'm a member. This is why I love it. So they're kind of painting both pictures. So if you have that scenario, it's really important. And so Charnay, for you in weddings and event planning, you might want to have someone talk about the anniversary party that you just planned, and you might want to also have someone talk about this elaborate wedding that you were able to pull off as well. Same thing with you, Jessica. You might want to do, it's actually kind of funny that you all have at least 2, but you have life and career. So you may want to say, hey, Jessica helped me reach these great goals in my life, and I feel much better and more rounded as a person. Help me narrow down XYZ. You might want to get one of those testimonials, and then another testimonial to say, hey, she helped me, bust through these glass ceilings that I thought that they were there, and she helped me really understand where I wanted to go, etc. So really honing in on that and who your clientele is. And even if it's 2 people, showcase both of their stories. We really sell through our stories these days. I can't stress that enough. Side note, on social media and everything, be telling your clients stories. That's what's really selling. And that's what people are really looking for, is to kind of hear why you're different. That experience, we kind of, as humans, we just kind of fall into that, just wanting to hear the narrative and the story behind things, even as a company, even if you're just starting out. I did want to say too, no problem. I did want to say too, if you're just starting out, so I don't know where you are in your nonprofit, but if you're just starting out and you don't have that many customers or clientele or users or whatever you call your end user, if you don't have that many, you can utilize your network. That is perfectly okay. I much rather you utilize your network, someone who's worked with you maybe on a project or et cetera. That still speaks to how you work as an individual. So utilize your network until you can get some really good testimonials, and then kind of position those on your page as such. So you don't have to just, if you're just starting out, definitely just ask around, utilize your network, say, hey, can you give me a review, an honest review of working with me in this situation? And people will usually say absolutely, because those are going to be the ones who refer you clients and stuff anyway. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's much better than not having anything. All right, so number 4 is inspire action. And this is the juicy stuff. So inspiring action just really means having a clear call to action. This should be really, really clear. I can't tell you how many times I go to a website and you don't know what it is that you want them to do, right? So now that I've pointed these things out to you, I guarantee you guys will probably be like, oh yeah, that's what she was talking about. And now you'll pick up on these things that everyone, at least like the bigger brands and stuff, are doing these things. They're making sure that everything is clear. So having that clear call to action is really, really important. What is the one thing you want people to do when they come to your site? And it's okay to have more than one, but have one strong one that sticks out like you wouldn't believe on that page. A tip that I have is really try to use a different color than any other button on your page. So if all your buttons hopefully are the same color on your website, if they're all the same color, feel free to use a different color in your, of course, in your brand style guide or in your color palette or whatever. Make sure it still goes with brand, but choose a different color that really pops off the page. It really will catch the eye and kind of engage the ones that are kind of warm. Now, that is to say, probably 10 to 20% of the people who hit your site will probably actually click that button. The rest of them, you probably want to have a soft call to action. So it may be something like, so if you have like a shop and then like buy now button, maybe your soft or secondary call to action is to kind of warm someone up, is maybe a newsletter or some type of lead magnet. And lead magnets are, I could do a whole session on lead magnets. So let me know in the comments if you want that. But lead magnets are basically something that you give away or that you guarantee of some sort on your website that basically gets them your contact information, and then you also deliver some type of value to them. So a lead magnet could be like a checklist, it could be a questionnaire, it could be basically anything that's on your customer's mind at the time. So definitely have something to kind of capture that information, just because those warm, or I'll say like cool to warm leads. Okay, no problem. Those cool to warm leads, you definitely want to capture them, and not just, because not everyone's ready to make a decision at that time. These tips though will warm people up and kind of convince is not the best word, but let's say encourage or persuade them to take action. But the ones who aren't ready yet, you still want somewhere for them to fall into. So some examples of this too is, I also like to say, create kind of a sense of urgency. So if you can do something like free shipping for a certain amount of time, or maybe it's some other offer to kind of create that sense of urgency, like I have to act on this right now, that would be your best bet. I won't say your best bet, but that's one option that people resort to all the time. So, oh, I'm sorry. So this is Kroger, and they're obviously known for a ton of things. It's a giant grocery store in Michigan. I'm not sure where else they are, but when you go to their site, you see free pickup on orders over 35. That's something that they're trying to push. So again, they're touching all of these tips, guys. They're saying, hey, we want to push online orders. So order your stuff online and you just pick it up. We want to push that right now. Probably the grocery store is really busy, so they're trying to decrease on traffic. That's probably a really good move for them to make strategically. And then they're also saying it's probably just a seasonal thing. I'm going to assume it's a seasonal thing. It doesn't say a date on here or anything, but it kind of has like that holiday feel to it. So I'm going to assume that. And they have this big button. You can't miss this button. It's white. There's nothing else white in that area. It sticks out, pops off the page. It's like start shopping online right now. That's their strong call to action. And then this is Nordstrom, same thing. They have 40% off. They have their different lanes. You would say they're not that well with the buttons. So I would more focus this and say like maybe one or two things. I wouldn't give people so many options because that's what your navigation's for. You're kind of duplicating efforts. But what they are doing well is kind of saying free shipping, free returns all the time. They're saying don't worry about it, hassle free, especially towards the holiday time. This is something that people will be wanting for their site. So going back to all the way to the beginning when we're talking about those prompts to ask yourself, what are the things that people need to hear? What are the actions you want them to take on your site? It's really, really, really important. Okay, no problem. I'll get right on that, guys. I see your comments. So bonus tip, be festive. People really like this stuff. So if you can figure out a way to have some holiday or seasonal type of imagery on your site, it kind of tells people, one, that you're updating it constantly. It gives them a reason to check back with you. You don't have this static graphic or static messaging on your site. It kind of makes them want to keep a tab on you. And I'm sure that you guys could agree on a lot of sites that you may come to, especially like I would even say my two examples, Starbucks and then Bath and Body Works. You're going to keep a pulse on them, especially during these times, because you'll know that they have some type of sale, or maybe if you're not promoting a sale, but they have something for you at this time. So it's really good to keep these things fresh because they'll learn to check back on it. So back to Starbucks, if you have any holiday themed products, like if you were making handmade goods or soaps, you could package those up. Anything that you could figure out how to creatively make around this time of the year. So Leah, she's one of my clients, and for her, we're going to kind of suggest that people could purchase her hair bundles as a gift, right? So that's going to be one of the things that we showcase very early on her social media and her website, is to say, hey, this is a gift, which is not something that your customers may not be thinking through. They may not be looking at your feed as something that you could gift. However, almost all of you could gift these services, right? So Charnay, Jessica, it may be like a certificate or sessions. Like, so maybe you figure out a way to make it really catchy and wordy, but giving the gift of, I could easily see someone say like a mother-in-law giving a gift certificate, or future mother-in-law giving a gift certificate for wedding event planning service. Because, hey, I know you've been looking at this lady, she offers this as an option. Maybe you can showcase that and say, hey, this is something you can kind of go in on. Wouldn't that be great? Right? So you want to kind of tease on those things that are a possibility. Wouldn't it be great to have someone buy you, $350 or $100 worth of hair for your or makeup or whatever it is for your Christmas or holiday season, whatever. This is the time of giving, and people are already in that mindset. So all you kind of have to do is just place that little bug there, and then they'll act on it. I promise they will. So Target, I saw the red into Target. Starbucks is doing a really good job of this. They show their 3 holiday drinks. It's cold outside, especially in Michigan. It's freezing. So they're like, hey, come try our new holiday drinks without, necessarily pushing anything too hard. And then the same thing. So this is a really good example of kind of what I was talking about, Bath and Body Works. When I saw this, I was like, yes. So Bath and Body Works sells a whole bunch of things, right? So what they've done here is they've said, hey, wouldn't it be great if you put this beautiful candle inside of this really nice accessory on your holiday table? Something you wouldn't even think about. So people don't think about decorating the table till probably a few weeks before, but now you've planted it in my head. Now I really see the whole decor. Wouldn't it be great if I had a couple candles on the table with that really nice Christmas or holiday season or winter decor? So it's really planting that seed. They're literally telling you for the table for this holiday season. All right, so that is the last of the 5 really, because I gave you that bonus. I'm going to do a quick recap. Feel free to screenshot this slide. I will send out the recording. I'll probably have to re-record the first part, but I'll send it out to you guys as soon as I get it all edited and stuff. So number 1 is focus. So again, that's that main offer, deciding on what that is. It could be 1 or 2. I would do no more than 2 if you could, but deciding on what that main offer is and then kind of having them pick a lane. And number 2 is displaying that value. Those are your benefits and your features. Number 3 is to show that proof. Those are your testimonials and your reviews. And then number 4 is to inspire action. And those are your strong CTA, which is a call to action. And maybe having a secondary for folks to land if they're not too warm. So from there, it probably seems like a lot. I promise it is not. You could probably easily get all this done in 2 weeks. It's mostly stuff that you already know as a business. You're dealing with your clients. You already have these things probably sitting somewhere or in some email that you email to someone individually. It's just a matter of displaying them well and making sure they're in the right places. I challenge you to commit to just one thing, and I promise you this stuff is really easy. You guys already know your benefits, you already know your features, you know all that stuff. So if you're still sitting there, you're like, what? Where do I get started? And you're like, you sit down at that computer and you're just really, really confused and just stuck. No problem. I'm always here to help. You can book a free consultation online with me at coloraddict.com/bookonline. And again, that's Color Addict with K's, just in case someone's dialing in and not on the actual webinar. You can see it's K's, KOLORADDIKT.com/bookonline. All right, everyone, that is everything that I have for you today. I'm gonna open it up and get some questions and do some like live workshopping. And if you guys need any help with anything or how you can kind of implement this today, or let's say tomorrow, towards the end of the day, for a lot of us, feel free to comment in the chat. If not, then I will see you guys on my next one. I have a webinar coming up in December. I'll make sure that you guys get in. No problem, Charnay. I'll make sure you guys get in on that. It is going to be kind of designing your website from scratch. It's going to walk you through, it's a 3-part seminar. It'll walk you through step by step how you're going to design your website. So it'll be really good for anyone who's managing their own site and kind of starting that off for themselves. So if you kind of tended this kind of hoping that you'll help to build your site, I have a session just for that. So let me know if you're interested. I'll make sure that you guys are on that list. So I'm going to stick around for a minute, and if you guys have any questions, I tried to leave some time at the end to make sure I can answer them.